Hey everyone, and welcome to another night of Women's World of Fishing Monday Night Takeover. I want to welcome everyone to the show. I know that everybody is super excited to get these ladies on the show tonight. I am too. We have got two phenomenal guests on the show, and I am so glad that they both could make it. And so I do want to get into that. I want to first just say I'm so sorry that Angie could not be here for the great show. But the good thing is that Angie is in Colorado and she is actually accepting her award for 2019 Outdoor Podcast of the Year. Which we just went through the voting for Angie for the 2020 Outdoor Podcast of the Year for her Woman Angler and Adventure. And she actually won it for 2020 as well. So she'll probably be out there about this time next year too. But congratulations, Angie. Well deserved. We're so happy for you. And I'm sure you're having a wonderful time out there. We're going to miss you tonight. But I get to ask all the questions. So that works out for me. They're all mine. But also a couple of housekeeping things just real quick. Actually just one in the comment sections. You guys are just going to have to kind of bear with me for the audience because I'm not going to be able to monitor the Facebook and kind of the stuff that Angie does. But I did go ahead and put in the comments the link for the giveaway, and you guys will actually have a week to enter, which will be at 8:30 next Monday. And on the list for the giveaway is going to be for my buddy Derek Herring with Bounty Hunter Turbo Buzz, and he threw in one of his hats. I have the white one. This is his black and gray one. And he also threw in, if you are a chatterbait person, don't even use them anymore. This is his turbo minnow. And this is actually the one that I like the best. Because the reason that I like it is you can actually throw it a lot slower. And that's why I like it. But it took me a year to beg him to make this, and it's his Turbo Mini. See, in Kentucky, we have to, in the summertime, we have to downsize everything. And I don't even think that that's a 1/4 ounce. I can't even explain how small that is, but let me put those together. So originally he wasn't even going to make the Turbo Minnow, but just for a couple of us. And because I begged him so much, he started making them because people started catching tons of fish on them in Texas, actually. So I'm going to throw one in there of my stash. And then you get that. And then from Runkle, we have got one of their 1/4 ounce lipless vibrating crankbaits. And then also their topwater Popar walking bait. That is like got a terrible glare on it. So all of that's going to go into the giveaway, and who knows what I will receive in the next week that I will throw in. I'm known for throwing extra stuff in. So the link is going to be in the comments, and it's actually on my Facebook page. I think it's on Twitter. So there's multiple ways to enter, get extra entries. So go ahead and jump in. There's great stuff in that giveaway. So that's all that I have. Good luck to everybody getting into that. Just don't give it to Pam and Brooke. That's all I got to say. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and bring them on. There is lots to go over with them because they had such a phenomenal tournament. So, ladies, are you guys good? Okay, here we go. Let's bring them on. Okay. Brooke and Pam, thank you so much for being on the show. Brooke, I know you switched your shift tonight, so thank you for that. Brooke's a registered nurse, so thank you for all that you do with that. How are you ladies doing? Have you recovered?
No, there's no rest for the weary. I'm sure Brooke went straight back to work, which I did too, just a different kind of work. Hers is stressful. We went straight to Chattanooga. My kids had a tournament there, so
Yep, because
left
you went
there,
right back into college coaching, didn't you?
went straight to Bainbridge from there. Stephen had a doctor's appointment, and look, record time. We have been home exactly 20 minutes. I got in this house, put on makeup, did my,
Or
my
like
acting, and got sat down.
20 minutes from like the tournament? Like,
Yes, we have just walked in the door. And
wow.
and makeup and hairspray.
Wow. I mean, like I got up from a nap about 2 hours ago, but
No,
wow.
we just drove 6 hours.
Wow.
And I was looking at my watch and I told Stephen, I'm gonna be late. I'm gonna be late.
Well, I was telling Brooke, I was like, I was like, I'll just add her on. We'll just bring her right in. It'll look natural. Oh, wow. Man, how about you, Brooke? Because you weren't feeling good at the end of the tournament. I mean, I wasn't there, but I watched the weigh-ins and I'm like, "Ooh,
Yeah, recovered. My kidneys are much better. Passed that
good."
kidney stone. Everything's great now. Went back to work. We worked. Supposed to work tonight, but I work tomorrow night and the next night. So just back to normal stuff. Getting ready for me and my mom have a couple little tournaments, local ones coming up. So just starting planning the next thing. So
Wow.
go back to normal.
Well, I'm glad you're feeling better. I
Thank
would
you.
have thought that once you got that check, you would have been like, "Psh, well, I feel fine now."
No, Barbara, you have no idea. This young lady, she's got the grit of all grit because I mean, I would look back there and her face would just be. I mean, you could see it written all over her face that she was in so much pain, yet she was still just flipping out there and actually had the first three fish in the boat and she wasn't even feeling 100%. So
Wow.
hats really off to her. She
Good
put
job, Brooke.
125% into it. I mean, most people would have stayed at home, stayed in the bed, and probably cried for mama, but
And
she held the thing.
and that's one thing that I always try to get across to people because I really just don't think that even the men, like on the men's tours who fish or just like the average people that see us on social media, I really don't think that they know how tough we are. Like I mean, I always think back to Truman. I mean, Truman was just whole other, I mean, it was ridiculous. It was whole next level, but I really don't think that they give us credit for how tough we really are as anglers. Like we're not out there just chilling,
That's right. I mean,
you know.
and Brooke may not want me saying this, and if you don't, sweetheart, I'm sorry, but I mean, just the sheer fact that she got there that morning to get in the boat, and among all her pain and everything else, actually forgot her tackle box. Now that in itself would have just taken most anglers mentally out of the game. Period.
Mhm.
But on top of a kidney stone and fighting all that, and without her tackle box, she was just like, "I'm gonna go fishing," and
Yeah,
that
I mean,
and did it very well. So
that's awesome. Now,
Yeah.
were you nice to her, Pam, or did you make like a like 70-mile run?
no, to start with, we made about a 5 minute run, um, and that didn't pan out too well. So I told her to buckle up.
Oh gosh, Brooke.
Yeah, I kind of felt bad, but I said we might bounce this kidney stone out.
It
So we took a pretty long run, but I tried to take it easy. I kept looking over and asking if she was okay. I mean, you know,
Oh, are you okay? Well, no.
yeah,
Okay, we're
well,
still
everybody
going.
just beat me to death, but
Oh, Brooke.
Oh,
That
it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, I Pam's right. I mean, the drive to just keep going and, do what you got to do and I mean, that's what we have to do as anglers though. I mean, it's really, you know, you had gone all that way. You're in contention.
Yeah.
Did you go out in the lead on day 3?
Yes, that's what paired me and Pam together. Was we were both sitting in first, so it went in order. And so we were paired together, and I knew Evil Hawk was hot behind me. So the whole time I'm like, I can do anything for 8 hours, for 9 hours. I can do anything for 9 hours. I can do anything for 9 hours. Just get up and put your bait in the water. You can do it. So I was going through my mind that whole tournament. Just get your fish. You can do it. Stand up.
Right.
I mean, it was not easy in any way. And,
Right.
you know, fishing behind Pam, she made me work for those fish in a way that, you know, I grew up fishing behind my mom, Alisa Johnson, and Pam Ridgel, and those are excellent anglers in themselves. So I learned how to just pay attention to where they're throwing and know if they miss that overhanging branch, you pitch under that underhanging branch. If they miss throwing down that log, you throw down that log. So it was just really, I had to work for those fish in a way that had to be mentally strong enough to be able to do that. So, but it was
Was that your first time fishing with Pam?
Yes, it was. And I felt so silly for forgetting my tackle box. I was like, of course of all days. But
because you're like, oh my gosh, I'm fishing with Pam, and she's like been in the Bassmaster Classic. I ain't got no tackle bag.
I literally write a book of the mistakes that I dare not to mention. So that didn't faze me. What fazed me was the fact that you had the mental fortitude just to say, to heck with it, let's go.
Yeah.
Because most people really would have it would have blown them up.
Just remind her of earlier.
I'd have been like, oh my God.
Well, just if that ever happens again, just remind Pam that just earlier this year that her and Steven launched on the wrong lake during practice.
Yes.
Thanks, Barbara.
when she said that, I'm like, oh man, if I do something stupid on her boat, I'm gonna remind her of that. Because that's all I got.
Yeah.
Appreciate the reminder there, Barbara.
You're welcome. I thought that was the funniest thing. So that's what I've got on you, but that's it. Because I haven't fished with you. But you know,
it's totally my fault, Brooke. I was following my GPS, and it took me to the boat ramp I put in. It just happened to be on the
I would blame it on Steven. Don't take the blame for that.
He was driving, yeah.
Well, you know, I have been sitting here because like I put up, and I want to definitely get these up here. Who's am I going to put up first? Let's put up. I'm going to put up Pam's first real quick, because I went through and I was analyzing. That's a bad word, not analyze. I was looking at the weights for the classic, and it was very interesting to me that Brooke's weights, they went down each day. You know, she had a limit every day, and they went down every day. That was her toughest day. And I'm like, you know, that makes sense because she's behind Pam, you know, and you are by far the toughest angler to fish behind. You just don't leave much back there, you know? So, I mean, you don't. We all know it. You know, you
don't know what to say to that.
you always find them, like you, and so I got to thinking, I'm like, okay, this was such a tough tournament for limits. You know, I think for the classic, you were the only pro that had 5 fish all 3 days. And I might be wrong in that, because then I started looking at a bunch of the other tournaments, because I'm like, okay, if there's one thing to take away from this, it's consistency. If you can go out and you can catch 5 fish every day, you can be on Pam's level. You know what I mean? Like, that really is, it is about consistency.
It is. Mm-hmm.
And it was like that for Brooke. How did you do it, Brooke? I mean, especially being that sick, how did you go out and get your, for everybody else, it's 3 fish for a co-angler. That's her limit. How?
So in practice, I practiced all week long with my mom, Alisa, and we were having a really good practice. We could pick out this stretch of boat docks and we could go fish it. We'd catch a keeper fish, go to the next similar. And so it's hard for me as a co-angler to learn or to go to a lake and fish that lake the way my mom was fishing it. And then, so I just knew what they were biting on. I caught on a wacky my whole practice and day 1 and day 2. I caught on a wacky with a Cinco that was a watermelon red. They liked anything with red flake for me. It wasn't green pumpkin. It had to have that red flake. So I just went out and I threw that bait nearly all day long on day 1 and day 2. Now day 3 behind Pam, we were fishing something a little bit different that I was like, I'm going to throw this shaky head, but put the same watermelon red Cinco on the back of it because I knew that's what they were biting on for me all week long. So I just
different presentation.
Just a little bit different. We were fishing something that had more current than I was seeing. So I just wanted that little bit heavier weight. And I had some shaky heads in my bag because, I just went to my mom's boat that morning and dumped a whole bunch of stuff in a little bag and said, all right, I just need some of those Cincos and I'll be good to go. So I just, it was something I hadn't seen fishing with her on day 3. And I just went with my gut and just fished, I guess. I mean, I just went after it.
Well, because everybody else is,
instinct, Barbara.
Huh?
She has the instinct.
Well, and in my write-up, that was kind of where I was, what I was thinking. That's why I was like, I called it here on this night. That, I mean, I'm assuming, I mean, you love what you do for a living, right, Brooke?
Yes, I'm a labor and delivery nurse, and I love it.
Aren't you kind of at like a crossroads here? I mean, because this is the beginning for you.
Yes, I love fishing. I love it. It is something that I have always enjoyed to do. I've done multiple different types of fishing and, bass fishing. I've always been competitive. And so this is just, I mean, I'm just beginning. This is only my 2nd full year to fish with the LBAA. So I still have so much to learn. So, I mean, we're just going to go with it and
just kind of see what happens. Well, I'm calling it tonight. This is the beginning for you. Like, I mean, for the pros, the weights for like day 1, day 2, and day 3, there was no consistency. They were all over the place. People who everybody was kind of did better on day 2, like that was the best day. But then it was like their day 1 and 3 was flip-flopped. It was very odd, and then Pam, you were the most consistent, which you're Pam, so
no
obviously. Right. I mean, it's, but I can completely see her, being consistent like you, because when I went back and started looking at, her tournaments, I'm like, oh, like she just needs to go ahead and get in a boat.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. But I mean, what about your practice, Pam? Did it sounded like there was a transition at some point, like as far as the weather? Was your practice and your tournament different?
Somewhat. The first 2 days of practice were horrible. I mean, I was struggling. The first day I tried to force feed them a frog in the grass because that's just my thing, and it wasn't working. And so I went down lake into that really clear water and started fishing some docks, like Brooke said. But then on the second day, I was down expanding on some stuff down on the lower end, and I knew that this transition from summer to early winter, fall it's right there. It was right there. And so the shad should have been moving, at which point the fish would be following the shad. And so I got to paying attention when I would idle in these pockets. And, I was basically just looking for shad. And when I could find some shad, I could catch some fish. And, I was actually using my active live target on my Lowrance, when I'd start fishing because once when the sun was up during practice, the shad were on top. You could see them. It was a no-brainer, really. I mean, where they were. But the tournament, it got cloudy and rainy all 3 days, so the shad went down. Well, I couldn't necessarily see them. Well, you go in one of these big pockets, and you'll just be random casting around. But I could take that active target and actually locate where these pods of shad were. And
Okay. So when it was sunny and they were just kind of like fluttering on top, were you doing like spooks and?
No, I never could really get a topwater deal. I was throwing a crankbait, just trying to match the little shad and about the depth that the fish were,
Gotcha.
But I did throw a variety of crankbaits. I think at one point I had 5 different crankbaits on the deck. So I had anything from a square bill up to a DD22. So I covered everything from 2 feet to 20. Just
Wow.
hey, I did a lot of casting.
Yeah.
Actually, to the point of the last day of practice, I told Steven, I said, I don't know if my shoulder's going to hold up for 3 more days.
Yeah.
But it did. And then the second day, I have a pretty good history with Coosa River lakes.
Yeah, you do. That's putting it lightly.
And just based on past histories of various lakes on the Coosa River chain, I had gone upriver one day in practice when Diana was with me, and I fished and fished and fished, and I found one bank that we got like 4 bites in a 75-yard stretch, and I left it. Well, I knew the fish down lake would be more consistent the first day because it was the first day after the sun and all that. So it would be the closest to the conditions. I went down there and I actually had a limit by 7:30 that morning. But I knew with the continuing overcast and the generation schedule and the fact that Saturday there was going to be tournaments, there was a whole lot of factors that went into right before takeoff, instead of turning and going down river, where I caught my limit the first day by 7:30.
Right.
I made what I called a really gutsy move because I didn't know. I turned and went upriver and had a limit by 10:30 that weighed 13 pounds. So actually that's what Brooke and I did the third day. But it just didn't. A couple things happened. They generated more water the second night. So the water actually came up where we started, and it got a lot more muddy, and it was quite a bit more current. So it just didn't work out as well. And that's when I told Brooke, I said, we got to go. And I mean, I went down lake, and Brooke, I fished for 2 hours and didn't get a bite. And I'm beginning to really just panic, And I kept telling myself, I said, just calm down. I said, you know what they're doing.
Right.
We just kept going in places, and we went in one little pocket and I caught 2, and then we went in the next one, and I think I caught my 2 biggest fish on back-to-back casts, actually.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
That'll settle your nerves.
yeah. Well, I mean, even going in with an 8.5 pound lead, I mean, that's not comfortable. I mean, not around these ladies. That's not comfortable. So, when I had 2 little barely 12-inch fish, I was like still just panicking because, any of these ladies at any moment were capable of cracking a 20-pound bag, and it's possible on that lake.
Right.
So, yeah, I wasn't Now, when I caught that second big one, I think I looked at Brooke and said, reckon how they like me now," or something to that effect. I don't know.
Right.
It's just,
You
it came out for it because I typically wouldn't say something like that, but it was just like such an overwhelming relief. I was like, whew.
right. Well, I mean, when we're competitors, when you get so stressed out, like, oh, I've done blown it, like you get to that point where it just like settles your nerves. You can take that deep breath and just be like, okay, now I'm fishing,
Because
you
I really
know.
did think I had blown it by going upriver the third day, since I'd had my limit the first day by 7:30, and then it kind of just leveled off after that. And I was like, I really messed up because I missed that first bite. And so yeah, it was. I guess Brooke could probably attest. It was pretty tense for me.
Really? Is it, Brooke?
I mean, it was just neat just to see her do her thing up there, and you know, I I was wanting, and now this sounds probably silly, but I was like, she needs to get a nice keeper. That way, I can relax back. I could just feel it, and when she got that keeper, I said, I think I even said something. I was like, oh, like like we can both relax now. I mean, not she didn't relax in, but I was just like, I can, because she at least I could feel her kind of relax just a little bit, just. And once she got that second keeper, I think you looked at me and she said, "You think that'll do it?" And so it was just really neat. I had a really good time fishing. So
Oh, Pam, you better hope you don't draw me. I'm gonna be like, keep your anxiety to yourself. Come on. I don't need none of that on me.
Well, now I don't say nothing. I'm just intense. I mean, that's I'm like this. I mean, I told Brooke, I said, if you need the net, you got to let me know, because but she was the same way. I mean, she was extremely focused, and that's what it takes. Especially when conditions are tough.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, is when it is tough, we all are kind of different than when we're all out there catching fish, and it is totally, there's just a different mood about everything, you know.
Right.
But wow, I mean, I thought that the whole tournament was going to be different than that. Um just because, I mean, I've seen so many people fishing Logan Martin over the summer when they were just, in the dead heat, catching big old fish all summer long. And so I thought it was just going to be big bags all over the place. And it looked like it was a real struggle for everybody.
Well, this time of year is, I won't say everywhere, but can typically be a really tough time of the year. I mean, it's been the same all around, this time of year, and especially on the Coosa River, that last, say, week and a half, 2 weeks before our tournament, up to our tournament. And, but once it cools off and they really get in that fall transition, it's going to bust wide open again. It's just a really tough time of the year. Just as it was at the Classic last year in Missouri, totally different conditions. It was extremely, extremely cold,
Right.
but it was still at this transition period in the fish's movements, and
Right.
it was very challenging as too. So
Man, I mean, it was with, because what was it about Truman? Oh yeah, at Truman they combined the shootout with the
right,
last turn. Okay, that's right. And then, so for the people tuning in that didn't know, the Classic is a 3-day tournament, and that's why I put up here the other days are 2-day events. So that's why
right,
the weights might look a little bit different. But for the Classic, it is a 3-day, the Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And I didn't see the weigh-in for the first day. The live weigh-in was having an issue, and then you weighed in really early, Pam, on
yeah.
day 2. and I missed that. And who did you fish with on day 2, Brooke?
Angie. I
Oh,
think
did you?
on day 2.
So I didn't see you weigh in on day 2. I literally had just tuned in right when Angie was taking the stage.
Yeah.
So, and then who did you fish with day 1, Brooke?
Linda Gessner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you fished with Angie Scott, Linda Gessner, and then Pam.
Yes.
So I don't think that there was any co-anglers that had limits 3 days. And like that is one thing that I think is really hard for co-anglers to adapt to. Like you were saying, like you fishing with your mom, and fishing with Pam, Ridgel
Mhm.
is, you get used to fishing behind them, and then, you go to the LBAA and then you're fishing behind tons of different people,
Yeah.
you know.
Mhm.
Do you think that, like, because a lot of people, I don't remember who it was on the show that I had with, it was a co-angler, but they were just like, yeah, I did it one tournament. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not a co-angler. I don't remember who it was though. Um, but are you a co-angler because that's where you're like you really want to be, that's where you're comfortable, or that's where you feel like you have to be? Like,
Well, I haven't been fishing too terribly long. I still have a whole lot to learn, and I feel like it's a rite of passage, maybe, or I don't know, to start. And I did local tournaments with my mom, and then I did the wild card 2 years ago at Logan Martin, and then in 2019, and then in 2020 I started the full, just slowly building.
right.
I'm still trying. I still have too much to learn, and um, I would feel if this is just talking, but if I were to get into a boat, I would feel like I wasn't doing a co-angler justice by trying to be on the front. So I think I just still have too much to learn, and I still need to do all of that learning. And I think it's a good place to learn is in the back of the boat. You have so many women who are willing to teach you, and you can learn by watching them and watching how they work. That it's just a good place to learn right now. So
Mhm.
I'm just gonna stick there for a little while and see what happens. But I really enjoy it right now. So
And I mean, everybody does have their own perspective.
We still learn too, also, Brooke. I mean, I
yeah,
learn every time. I mean, hey, you you and your mom and Pam Ridgel's like the wacky worm queens. Trust me, I watched what you did. So I mean,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, but as boaters, if we're not hard headed, we pay attention and learn as well. I mean,
yeah.
there's things, and I can tell you, Barbara, when this young lady decides to go boater, maybe when I retire.
Oh goodness.
I mean, I get it. I would not encourage any I wouldn't encourage any co-angler to wait to go pro because of other co-anglers. Because you there's no reason to do that. Like we have decisions too. Like I have a really nice skeeter boat in the garage. I always fish on the front of the boat. The only place that I don't is with the LBAA, and
Mhm.
it's because of that mind frame, and because of the mind frame of Pam Martin-Wells and Pam Ridgel and Alisa Johnson and Linda Gessner and Robbie Hartline, and I could go, Secret York and Cheryl Bowden. I can name every pro that fishes the LBAA.
Mhm.
That's why it's sitting in the garage. And
Well,
you just shouldn't do it. I have a video. I'm not even going to get upset tonight, but I have a video update that I'm getting ready to post as to why that is. I'm telling you, don't do it. Do it when you can do it. Do it. Don't do it because of a co-angler. we make the decisions to fish as a co-angler.
Yeah.
We will fish behind you any day of the week. Seriously. Like,
I get where she's coming from. I mean, there's certain aspects you gotta get your feet wet and learn.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm sure she's absolutely capable, but until she's comfortable with it,
right. But
you know,
if you are safe with a boat and you are comfortable behind a boat, like making the the safety calls, like
Yeah.
running a boat and stuff like that, if you're comfortable with that aspect and making decisions, don't make that call because you're afraid of what co-anglers are gonna to think fishing behind you.
Yeah, and it's not that I just feel like I need more time.
And
Like
and
everyone knows when they're ready, and
and
I'm
that's
still new. So
and and that's the thing. If that's all that it's about, that's all that it's about.
yeah,
Just don't let it keep being about that.
yeah,
That's all I'm saying. You're too good. You're way too good. I can just tell. Like, I swear it was like, I don't know, at some point last year, I was just like, oh crap, here we go, another Diana Evil Hog. Here we go.
she's good. She
But
is good.
I'm happy for you. You are doing great, and you know, um, yeah, it's good to see, you know, some newer people that's coming in and starting to fish. And did you get to meet Fancy Pants at the
briefly,
at,
yes,
okay, good.
I did meet her, but it was brief because it was day one, and we'd had some issues with the trailer, and as soon as I weighed in, we had to leave. So, it,
Oh, okay.
but yeah, I did get to meet her. Actually saw her the last day. I think I won one of the Yozuri crankbaits, and I actually give it to her daughter. So
Hmm, that's awesome. I didn't know that. I haven't caught up with her, but um it's just, it's good to see you know, newer ladies coming in. I think she's gonna end up fishing next year, and a couple of other people, and um, I think it's a good thing.
most definitely, that's what we need. We need the new blood. We
Mhm.
need folks like Fancy Pants and Brooke and some of the others that's got that passion. I mean,
Mhm.
you know, they've really got the passion for the sport, and that's what it's going to take to help grow the sport.
Mhm. I totally agree, and I'm not gonna say what the source is just yet, because and there's a reason for it, because I'm gonna reach out to everybody that's quoted in it. But
Uh-oh.
no, it's not bad. Um, but it was talking about different, like, women in fishing, and it was talking about Kim Bain Moore being the first person to fish the Bassmaster Classic, and it was talking about your earnings, which and it said that you're the easily the most accomplished female angler in the BASS history. And it was talking a lot of compliments and stuff on female anglers. But then I started seeing like in this article a lot of, like, negative comments, even from other women, as far as um I guess you could say, like, women holding themselves back. And it wasn't talking about any individual anglers doing that. Does that make sense? It was talking about, like, the well, we all just need to, stop. Let me just bring it up real quick, because there was one specific lady that I wanted to reach out to because of the way that she had worded this. Oh, of course. Anyway, the ones who were defending female anglers, that they basically are like, we need to be a team. We all need to band together and fight together, and like go. I don't know how to explain it.
Look,
Like,
let me interrupt a minute. First of all, fishing knows no boundaries. Okay,
right,
and
exactly.
I say in a lot of my talks, it is the most non-discriminatory sport that there is, because a fish doesn't know if you're
Right,
black, white, fat, skinny, female, male, Chinese, whatever. So
right.
therefore, the only thing, and I really don't want to get into this because I'll get. I mean,
Oh, then we won't, because
the only thing that holds a lot of women back is the sponsorship opportunities. Now, given the same monetary sponsorship and backing that some of the guys get, there's many ladies out there that can compete, and I'm gonna leave it at that. And
right.
that's where I'm going.
Good. Because and now you know where I'm going, because have you ever seen my Dear David Dudley video?
Mm. Let's move on.
Okay.
Brooke, a very good tournament. Let's move on. It's
Okay.
Brooke.
Okay. Well, just know that this, because of that article, that I'm reaching out to people because I see other women that are fighting against women, and I don't like that. You know what I mean?
In
Yep.
the whole situation that you're talking about, it was stated that I didn't qualify legitimately.
Oh
And
no, I'm not even talking about that. This has nothing to do with that.
okay,
No,
let's
I'll send.
let's move on
Okay, I'll
to
I'll
to
send you.
brighter days.
Okay, I'll send you the article. I just don't want to send it to or tell everybody else because of the people I'm reaching out to. No, you're painted as like the you and Kim. Yeah, you guys are like the the women, the really good people. I'll send it to you. You'll feel much better. Yeah, it's not about that. I'm sorry.
Just have a passion for this sport. I love this sport, and it doesn't matter who we are. The fish don't know, and that's all that counts, is if we
I
can grow
totally.
the sport for the Brooks, for the Lily Smiths that I got on my team, for the Dalen Whaleys, for those young girls coming up. If we can grow this sport, this
Right.
organization for those kids, then I've done a small part of my job.
You've done a huge part. I'm sorry. I explained that really bad because it has nothing to do. I honestly, it has nothing to do with that. It really, yeah, it really has nothing to do with the Bassmaster Classic. It was actually just using you guys as an example as to you guys being the most decorated in bass fishing. Um so that was like the beginning of the article. Um,
Okay.
so I'll send it to you.
No, it's okay.
I apologize. Um, but I want there to
You
be,
can get in my boat any day. Okay.
Thank you.
and I want there to be, you know, more opportunities, and I want the women, to be there. And Brooke, you you're a nurse by day or at night.
Yeah.
And how long have you been fishing with your mom?
Well, I've been when my mom got her boat in 2019. That's when we started like tournament fishing together. Like we would did some local ones here and there, and so it wasn't. And now I've always bass fished, or I grew up on Lake Palestine here in Texas, and so it's always been
Nice.
fishing, all kinds. And we would. So it's just. I mean, 2019 is when we started doing like actual tournament fishing. But I would go. She's been in the LBAA since I think 2011 ish, and
Hmm.
any local tournament, I was there. I was watching. I know who everybody is. I have watched them for all of these years, and I mean, a boat can go by on the water. I can tell you who it is. I can, and I just know all of these women. I know how they are, and
Right.
so last year when I fished my first full year, it was just really exciting. And then to come on this year and have a better year, I mean, it's just reassuring, and as I continue to learn and grow, and so I'm just very excited, and it's just, I mean, it's also something I get to do with my mom, which is also really cool in itself.
Yeah.
So it's just I really really love it. So
And it's awesome because there's not a lot of like mother daughter, pairs that fish together competitively. I'm
yeah,
lucky enough I still fish with my dad, you
yeah,
know, and that's still rare to be my age and tournament fish with your dad, and that's awesome
Mhm.
that you guys get to do that.
That's good.
And who who was it that taught you to fish, Pam?
My mom and dad.
It was your
Yeah,
mom and dad?
they used to pick my sister and I up from school when we were. I remember being in the first grade and them picking us up on Friday and going to the lake and spending the weekend camping and fishing. So, you know.
Mhm. And that's what you did growing up, and
And then as far as bass fishing, I mean, I'd always been competitive all my life. I mean, I raced motocross, I played basketball, softball, and I love to fish. And just Bassin Gal came to Lake Seminole, and I stood on the bank and watched them for a week and said I'll be at the next one. And the next one was at Lake Fork in Texas. I was, I think, 21 years old, jumped in a truck and went all the way to Texas right by myself. And
wow.
so I am 30 something years later.
Ma I wonder how many miles you've driven for bass fishing.
A whole bunch.
Wouldn't you like
Look,
to have a dollar for every one?
I just bought a new truck when we were at Hickory, and it's got 12,000 miles on it now. So
Wow. And
that
that
kind
was
of gives
only
you a
since
little.
May.
Yeah,
Wow.
and
Well,
the one, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, as far as what you thought Logan Martin was gonna be compared to what it was, how different was it?
It was quite different. I really expected them to be a little further along in like I said, that fall transition pattern. I really thought I would go and just fish largemouth and grass all 3 days with a frog, and that just I caught one fish on a frog, and I think it was just stupid. Um,
It was the Bobby Boucher of
yeah,
that.
yeah. I mean, I threw it until I wore the paint off of the thing, and I got one bite on it. But that was my mindset going into it. Um, and if I could throw anything out there to any new anglers, that would be one thing to throw out there is as hard headed as I am, and that's the way I packed was largemouth fishing, grass fishing, shallow, frog, that kind of thing. Um, you gotta be willing to change. I mean,
Right.
you can't force it. Um, and during practice, I jumped down and I put all my braided line, all my frog stuff, all my everything up, and got out crankbaits and jerk baits and that kind of thing. And you got to be willing to, as as Brooke said, you got to be willing to listen to your gut. I mean, you
Wow.
know, and
Did
change.
you I mean, I know you said that you had 5 different crankbaits on the front. How many did you throw in addition to that?
Oh, until I figured out exactly which ones they wanted, I probably had at one time had everything in my boat tied on, to be honest.
Oh my gosh. When you do a crankbait, do you use the little snap swivels or do you individually tie every one?
No, ma'am, I tie them. I tie them, and that's personal preference. But I feel like the snap doesn't let the bait have the
The
correct
natural.
action. But that's preference. You know, it's
Man,
kind of a funny little thing. I actually offered Brooke one of my crankbaits,
I
and
did hear that.
the funny thing is though, because I was like cringing. I mean, they don't make this crankbait anymore. You can't get
Ugh.
this color anymore, and I have two of them. And I'm like, dang. And I give it to her, and I didn't tell her until after the tournament was over. I said, I really need that back because I didn't tell you. I said, but that crankbait's probably older than you are, and they don't make it anymore. So I had two crankbaits on during the tournament that I caught fish on that was probably 25-ish years old.
Wow.
And one was borrowed, and Brooke saved it because I somehow or another in catching a fish, I kicked my rod and reel in, and I don't know how the thing floated, but she's got the net trying to dip my fish, and my rod and reel's floating off, and she reaches down, probably broke her rib trying to get my rod and reel and the fish.
Wow.
So she saved probably a 30-year-old borrowed crankbait and my rod and reel.
And sick.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
when she was still tense. We hadn't got that, and so I was like, if she loses this rod and reel and crankbait, and we're still this tense, no, I'm going head first, and
Right.
and I'm getting that crankbait.
She's like, it's warm enough. I think I can swim. I can swim in this water.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember when I was fishing with Terry Sendrick, she was fishing in flip flops and she had started to fall in the lake and she knew she wasn't going to be able to save herself. So, but the flip flop got stuck under all of her rods and reels. And so she was going in head first. And I saw all of her reels going over with her.
Wow.
And I just jumped on top of her rods because I'm like, she can swim. These are all going to the bottom. And I'm like, you know what? That's a true friend when they're like, you can drown, but I'll save your fishing stuff.
That's right.
But I did.
Job. She dove one way with her hand to catch my rod and the other way with the net to catch a fish. So it was a win-win situation.
Acrobatic rook. Man, you guys did really, really good. I had seen that I actually thought you went out with like a 10-pound lead because that's what I was saying on social media. I was doing
It may have been 9.5. I don't know.
Yeah, it was a lot. I mean you would yeah, it was a lot. But and then because I was on social media, I was trying to actually do like a double stream to TikTok with what you guys were showing and to get more people on there. And the Pam Horn was in, I think, second place or
Third,
some, yeah, second or third. And Leslie Anderson. But it was, it was definitely that consistency, and that's something I'm taking away with that because I kind of, I've been saying, now when you go out to fish, instead of like, oh, I'm looking for one big fish, I'm kind of saying, I'm every time I go out, I'm looking for five, just to kind of get in that mindset. Did you ever do that or anything, Pam? Like just to where you kind of made that a goal?
Well, honestly, I fish better when I got 5 fish in the boat. It doesn't matter if they're just barely keepers.
Okay.
I can settle down then. So, naturally you go out and you want to catch big fish, but I want 5 in the boat, and then I can settle down like Brooke said. Then it's like that weight's lifted off. You can settle down and really do what you need to do then. So I mean that may not be one of my downfalls, but that's my deal. I really want to catch a limit first, and then I can expand on that hopefully.
Yeah, I guess I definitely, that's something I need to change my way of thinking of, because my dad's always says, swing for the swing for the fences kind of thing. And I'm like, we're the only people here that aren't going to go get a limit first, because there would be people that would go and try and get a limit of spots first or something like that. And, so I've got to untrain my brain to do that, because like you said, I think it does allow us to kind of settle down, with stuff like that.
And there's times where conditions warrant you going out. I mean, you may know that you're on some fish that are good fish and they'll only bite first thing. Well, of course you're going to go to
Right.
that, but you're not going, or I'm not going to sit there all day
Mm-hmm.
when you're not biting.
Right.
So you just you gotta weigh a whole bunch of different scenarios. But yeah, 5 in the boat, you can relax a little sometimes. Maybe.
Well, and I mean, you've got, like Brooke was talking about, the learning and the, being back there, like you've got the experience to be confident in your decisions. you know like I said, my boat's been in the garage because I'm totally hypocritical. I'm like, Brooke, you need to do this, but I'm just like, I get in my head too. I'm just like, I don't belong fishing against you guys. Like, we all have our certain things, and I don't have confidence in making those types of decisions where you do. um but you just make them natural. I can't believe that you even get to that point where, like, you hesitate, making that decision to go upriver or downriver, or, you know.
Yeah, it's always a game of chance. I mean,
Hmm.
fishing is not like basketball. It's not an inanimate object. Fish actually have a brain, and they outsmart me a lot of times. So I mean, there's a whole lot of variables you have to weigh, and you know, I I second guess myself all the time, but you
You
got.
always figure it out in the end.
I don't know about always, but
Yeah, you do. You do great, you
thank
know. And, Brooke, you had a phenomenal year.
Thank
I
you.
think it's just the beginning for you. It's super sad. This is the end of the 2021 season. Um, I honestly, Pam, it was so funny because when I was doing the overlay, at the end of our last show, I was like, not even taking these down. So I still had all your logos up and everything, Um,
I appreciate
and
that.
yeah, I mean, you're just that good, and you're always going to be that good. And Brooke, I'm just going to keep yours up too. This won't be the last time we'll see you, and everybody knows that. You're going to continue to do great, and it's amazing. Is there like anything, as far as the tournament, that you guys want to mention? Is there anything that you guys want to say as far as sponsors, or just anything you want to throw out there, cuz this is it until spring.
I mean, I just really enjoyed this tournament. It was my best tournament so far. I caught my limit and cold each day, which hadn't done that yet. And I just really want to thank, a couple of my sponsors. They've been great, like Gary on Wanna Custom Baits, being a Marine, which if y'all follow my mom on Facebook at all, you kind of know what they're going through. So just you keep them in your thoughts. And I've asked 360. They've done a great job promoting the LBAA and me as well. So they've just been I've had a really good year, and I've got some good people behind me. So just can't wait to see where this all goes. So next year, I'm really excited.
And
Well,
any companies that want to support Brooke that's watching, you guys, I'll put up her social media and stuff. You guys can reach out to me, or to reach out to me to contact her or contact her directly on her social media. So
Yeah, and I would just like to take a minute to thank the LBAA. They worked really hard to get where we're at now, and if we all work together, we can make it grow. Um, uh, Lincoln, that new ramp they're building there in Lincoln is awesome. They were a great host, and all that went really great, and they got a really nice facility that's going to be there. And I really can't say this enough. I've just re-signed with the city of Bainbridge, which I mean is my hometown, but that that kind of really means a lot. Excuse me. That means a lot to have your hometown behind you. And they've been a supporter of me for quite a few years now, and we just re-signed, and I'm extremely proud of that, and happy, and we love going around and trying to support Bainbridge in the Lake Seminole area. It was probably the ultimate place to grow up fishing, around that area with we got a diverse fishery all around us. So that was a great place, and we're just really pleased to have them on board again.
that's awesome.
Lawrence, Power Pole, Mercury, couldn't do what we do without them. And a special thanks to Marty Walker with Palmetto Boating Center in South Carolina. My boat actually was not ready when this tournament came due, and he's like, here, take my personal boat. So, he loaned me his personal boat that had 10 hours on it, and I was kind of like a nervous wreck, but it is what it is. And
wow.
so, a big shout out to him and Palmetto Boat Center for that. And, the Phoenix ran great.
Nice.
I guess I got to thank my husband too. He supports me a lot.
Oh, Steven. He all right.
He's all right. Sometimes he says I fire him about 3 times a week, but
every week? Oh.
Every week.
At least once a week.
He said at least once a week.
Oh, poor guy. You should be nice to him. Didn't he just go to the doctor?
He did, but the doctor released him, so say he can start doing more and more with his broke arm and broke leg.
Broke arm and broke leg.
Oh, you didn't know about that?
I guess not. Did you
Yeah,
break him?
No. About 2 months ago, he fell off of a roof and broke his left leg and crushed his right elbow. He's been in a cast and everything.
That's
Just got
right.
all that off.
I do remember
By the way,
that.
Brooke, the doctor said that he thinks it's the outflow, not the inflow. So how am I saying that? Not the blood coming in his leg, but the blood going out that's blocked. So they got an appointment to see about that.
Good.
I do remember that now because I sent him the picture of the guy laying in the hospital bed with a full body cast, and it just said and it said, just tell me, Doc, can I fish or not? I do remember that.
My Christmas list for him from everybody is bubble wrap. Bubble wrap, bubble wrap, bubble wrap.
Oh, I should.
Good one.
That's not nice. I'm sorry, Steven. I was not laughing over here. Out here. Oh, well.
No, and we appreciate people like you that take your time to get us out there and try to, make us more visible. Yeah.
I appreciate that. I'm trying to be creative and think of different things to do, anything to bring light to it, to the LBAA, and just, because the LBAA deserves it, and people need to know the truth about the tour and women's fishing and the misperceptions, and and just the real stories and the great stories, and and stuff like that. So I appreciate that, because I really want to be a part of helping to build it in any way that I can. So I'm trying. But it's sad, in my write up I said that it's bittersweet, at the end of the season, but it for the LBAA it's really just bitter. We won't see each other until spring, and I don't know, it's just really sad at the end of the year. But we got plenty of time to, I guess, prepare for wherever we're going to end up. And, I hope everybody's just, for anybody with the LBAA that's watching, we love you. And thank you for hanging out with us. And, Brooke and Pam, I really appreciate you guys being here. Brooke for, taking the evening off and everything. And, I guess if you guys don't have anything, we'll call it a night. And if anything comes up, I'll filter questions to you guys, or comments or anything. And Pam, I'm sending you that article because that's my fault. I really do, with multiple sclerosis, I really do get my wires crossed and I have a hard time explaining things, so that's totally my bad.
It's quite all right. It's sometimes it's touchy.
Oh no, I know that. Like I'm total agreement with you. Like in the last episode, because I had heard crap like that before, a couple of years ago. That's why the last time we had a show, I was like, the undisputed second place, but like I made it very clear because I didn't want people doing stupid stuff. But this article, no, it was nothing bad about you or Kim or nothing like that. So I do apologize for that. I didn't want to, anything like that.
No apologies. It's all good.
So
congratulations. You had a great year.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And I guess we'll be in contact soon. I'll see you guys on social media, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the spring.
Yes, ma'am.
All righty. Have a good night, you ladies.
All right.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Thank you.